Someone on a bullhorn shouting, "This is the FBI. We have a warrant for your arrest. Come out with your hands up." That man got out of bed. He looked outside. He saw a number of FBI agents, tactical gear, standing here on this street. He says the next thing he saw was David Rush, his neighbor, in handcuffs. He says the FBI was then inside this house all day long.
America, the man walking out of that house in handcuffs was a senior executive of the Central Intelligence Agency. Top secret clearance, senior enough to make his own requests with nobody pulling a file behind him. And over 5 months, November to March, David Rush walked into the CIA office and asked for gold, foreign currency, tens and millions of dollars of it. The CIA, they said yes, no audit, no check on where the last shipment went before signing off on the next one, no record of what any of it was actually for. 303 gold bars, $2 million in cash, 35 watches, most of them Rolexes, all sitting inside a house in a Virginia suburb called Ashburn Farm. Not a safe house, not a covert facility, a house on a street where the neighbors watched the FBI haul him out at 6 in the morning. But here's what every viral clip of this is skipping right over. The FBI agent who signed the affidavit doesn't work financial crimes. He doesn't work public corruption. He works counterintelligence. And that one word changes what the government thinks this actually is. 20 years of CIA leadership missed this. One man caught it. His name is on the joint statement. Every network read on camera, and almost nobody stopped to ask what it meant. What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Verified facts first in plain English so you know the entire story. May 18th, 2026, FBI executes a search warrant at this gentleman's house. His name is David Rush. David Rush is home in Ashburn, Virginia at 6 in the morning. We're talking about bullhorns, tactical gear, okay? Rush walks out in handcuffs. His neighbors stood at their windows like nosy neighbors do and watched what is happening on their street. Inside that house, 303 gold bars, each weighed about 1 kilogram, according to the reports, roughly 2 pounds each. Stack them up, you've got $40 million sitting in a suburban home in Northern Virginia. Next to that gold, you guys, was $2 million in U.S. currency, USDA, U.S. dollars, $2 million in U.S. dollars. Can you say dollars enough, Tyson? In a separate trove, 35 luxury watches, most of them Rolexes. May 19th, Rush is charged with a single federal felony, theft of public money held without bond. His defense attorney declined to comment, obviously. The next court date is June 5th. Now, watch what the FBI found when they checked his storage unit at the CIA office. And this is where the gold was supposed to be.
Rush's employer at the time, which was the CIA, was later unable to find the bars or determine what they were being used for.
Rush's employer at the time was not able to later locate the gold bars or determine the intent of use. That is the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, the agency whose entire purpose here, you guys, is to verify what other countries and covert programs are doing. They're saying that they could not figure out what their own senior executive did with $40 million they personally handed to him. They checked his storage space only to find part of the cash there. The gold was gone, and they had no record of what he actually needed any of it for. $40 million, you guys, handed over 5 times, no audit, no verification. That is the system managing your tax dollars. And your retirement is sitting in that same system right now. That is why I am proud to partner with today's video sponsor, Noble Gold Investments. I keep my generational wealth in something that doesn't require trusting a bureaucrat to check the paperwork if they dotted their I's and crossed their T's, okay? Noble Gold Investment, physical gold and silver held in your name in an IRS-approved vault Roll over your existing 401k or IRA with zero taxes and zero penalties. Gold just hit an all-time high of $5,600 this year, up 65% in 2025. The dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power since 1913. New qualified accounts get a free 1/10 ounce gold coin worth over $1,000. Guys, check out Noble Gold Investments at noblegoldinvestments.com/Tyson. Again, that's noblegoldinvestments.com/Tyson, or call 877-646-5347. And then, because this story doesn't stop with one layer of absolute absurdity, I need to tell you what Rush said he needed the gold for. 5 times. The same answer. 5 times. He said work-related expenses. That's it. A significant quantity of foreign currency, tens of millions of dollars in gold bars for quote-unquote work-related expenses. And the Central Intelligence Agency said, yeah, sure, work-related expenses. We'll give it to you. They gave it to him 5 times over 5 months to one man. And now, you guys, here's where it gets significantly worse.
David Rush is a former CIA senior officer with a top secret security clearance. According to a complaint filed in federal court, Rush made several requests for work-related expenses between November of 2025 and March of 2026. The complaint says Rush applied 3 times to the CIA, twice in 2006 and again in 2009 when he was hired. The investigation has revealed that he never attended or obtained a degree from Clemson University. The investigation also revealed that Rush never attended or obtained degrees from RPI, or Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. According to court documents, Rush also told employees he was a pilot for the Navy. That was not true.
Clemson University, Rensselaer Polytech Institute. I totally butchered that name. Naval Test Pilot School, Air Force Test Pilot School. 11 years as a thesis advisor at the Air Force Institute of Technology. And the FBI called every single one of those schools and every one of those institutions. Not a single one of them, you guys, had a record of David Rush, his actual job in the Navy, inform systems technician, never a pilot, no FAA license, no test evaluation certificate. And this man had top secret clearance while every one of those lies was sitting unchecked on his file. This very much reminds me of that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks, Catch Me If You Can type of situation. And here is exactly how 20 years of lies got through the Central Intelligence Agency. 5 separate moments where the system was supposed to catch this and it didn't. Failure 1, you guys, for my copious note takers, okay? Failure 1 was in 1997. Rush enlisted in the Navy using fake Clemson University transcripts. The Navy commissioned him as an officer based on a degree that doesn't actually exist. First gate, first failure, day number 1. All right, we moving, we chugging along, guys. Failure number 2, it's happened in 2009, okay? Applies to the CIA, twice in 2006, where rejected. Third try in 2009, gets him hired. His application claims a Clemson bachelor's and a master's in Naval Test Pilot School certification. The CIA was supposed to be running some most intensive background checks vetting for the federal government, but this just proves a lot of things to me, you guys. Jobs ain't checking your history, okay? I think Vaughn's and Kroger check your history more than the CIA did for this guy. They didn't call Clemson. They didn't call the master's program. He gets hired. Failure number 3, the same year, Rush applies for top secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information clearance, the highest clearance available. He lists some fake degrees on his SF-86 form, a form that is a federal document. Lying on this is its own separate felony. The clearance, it was approved. This is going to be a movie one day. Failure number 4, 2018. Rush applies for senior executive service, the top tier of the federal civilian employment, the highest salary, the most authority. His new application adds 2 more fresh lies. Okay? Force test pilot school graduation and 11 years as a discretionary advisor at the Air Force Institute of Technology. Neither of them were real. Neither of those were checked either. And he gets the promotion. He's just cruising along. Failure 5, November 2025 through March 2026. Rush makes 5 separate requests for gold bars and foreign currency. Each one, just like everything else in this story, was approved. Nobody tracks where the previous request went before signing off the next one. When the CIA finally checks the storage space, obviously the gold is gone. Okay, we're talking about 5 checkpoints, 5 failures, one man walking through every single one of them. Now listen, you guys, what the former deputy director of national intelligence, how he got past the CIA's polygraph system, because the answer here is what people probably don't understand about how polygraphs actually work.
You can pass a polygraph if you're a pathological liar because you truly believe what you're saying is correct.
Because physiologically, they're not giving
react.
off the things that a polygraph would pick up.
You're not sweating when you're lying.
Because
breathing heavily. You believe it.
The CIA's main verification tool is specifically defeated by one type of person that it's most critical to catch. It is Rush genuinely believing that he had all those accolades, that he had all those degrees, or had convinced himself completely enough to pass a lie detector test. And this is true with any lie detector test, because in the moment, it was psychologically true. He believed it. If you truly believe it, your heart rate isn't going to go up. Nothing's going to spike. It's not even going to show. That is a problem for a system that relied on one tool for 20 years without ever picking up the phone or calling Clemson. They just said, this guy passed the lie detector test. He's good to go.
If he spent any time at all at the CIA, and it sounds like he did, that he could have basically fooled them for all of this time.
The same affidavit claims Rush misled the CIA since joining the agency around 2009.
David Rush was honorably discharged from the United States Navy Reserves in February 2015. Lieutenant, not captain. Lieutenant. He served as an information systems technician, not a pilot, not a trusted evaluator, not anything that matched what he told the CIA. After that discharged on his federal time card at the CIA, he continued claiming military leave every single year for over 10 years. The FBI's affidavit said he claimed 744 hours of military leave, roughly 93 full 8-hour workdays that he was not entitled to because he had not been in the military since 2015. That was totally fraudulent compensation. Here's the date you need, you guys. Russia's fraudulent military leave claims run through September 2025, 1 month later, to November 2025. He files his first gold bar request. This guy is a champion. Those two fraud streams are not sequential. They actually overlap. The leave fraud was still running in September 2025. The gold request started in November 2025. For at least 2 months, both were active at the same time. And then the gold started building up at his house. And then the pattern accelerated enough that somebody inside the CIA looked at the totality here. Multiple systems, multiple fraud types escalating simultaneously. And then all of a sudden, people started asking questions.
Obviously, the case brings up a lot of questions about how somebody who apparently lied about their background was able to obtain this position and then able to, as a workplace expense, receive this much money in workplace expenses.
Now listen to whose name is in the statement that kicked off this entire investigation.
Have much safety, and we're going to have great intelligence services unless the American people actually trust that those intelligence services are doing their job, and I have every confidence that John Radcliffe is going to do that. That's why the president nominated him, and that's why the Senate confirmed him with big margins. Now,
Radcliffe did not write a new law. He did not create a new authority or invent a new process. He did not need an act of Congress. The CIA's internal investigation authority has existed since the agency was actually founded. The power to refer potential violations to the FBI, that was actually always there. The FBI's authority to apply apply for search warrants was always there. Rush's house in Virginia, always subject to federal jurisdiction. The entire mechanism was on the shelf for 20 years, while 20 years of CIA leadership approved Rush's credentials, cleared his clearances, promoted him to senior executive service, and handed him gold bars without checking where the last shipment went. What changed, my friends, was not a law. What changed was a director who actually used it.
Something went terribly wrong here. That's the one thing I think you can't help but conclude. You have somebody whose background checks were not made. He basically lied about his education, lied about his military experience, and somehow that was never checked out when he was being hired. Big mistake. And secondly, when somebody is able to make off with 300 bars, gold bars, it means that the process of being able to check that and to make sure that never happens broke down. So there's a lot of questions here that raise questions not just about the individual arrested, but whether the CIA, in terms of their process, failed to do what was necessary.
Yeah, and this is someone with a long career, right? So there's questions about years after years.
Now connect that to what he said about when the fraud was likely discovered, because this is the piece that Beth Sanner floated, and I'm going to push back on it.
And I suspect what happened here, and I do not know, but I suspect what happened here is he was retiring, and they were starting to go through the paperwork to count his number of years of service, and all of a sudden things started not falling into place.
Because looking at it as a total thing.
Yes.
You think on the front end too, though, you should notice it on the front end.
She floated the retirement paperwork theory. At least in my opinion, the timeline says something completely different. Rush's leave fraud ran through September 2025. His gold request started in November 2025. That is not retirement paperwork causing a random audit. That is two separate fraud systems accelerating at the same 3-month window, which is exactly the pattern a continuous vetting algorithm is designed to flag. Both things running hot at the same time. That is what makes a counterintelligence analyst say this needs a closer look. And that brings me back to the thing that I told you before the reading, because this is where the story goes beyond anything what other channels are covering. Let me give you the counterintelligence piece one more time because it deserves its own section here. Matthew T. Johnson, FBI Special Agents, Counterintelligence Division, Washington Field Office. He's the agent whose name is signed at the bottom of the affidavit that got the search warrant for Rush's house. Not the Financial Crimes Division, not the Public Corruption Unit, the division whose entire job is asking whether an American is working for or being used by, get this, a foreign government. Every major American spy case that you've ever heard of, ever. Robert Hanssen, who sold FBI secrets to Russia for 22 years. Aldrich Ames, who sold CIA sources to the Soviet Union, who got people killed. Jonathan Pollard, who gave classified documents to Israel. Those were counterintelligence cases before they became espionage cases or theft cases. The counterintelligence designation means the FBI walked into this investigation not asking just, did somebody steal this or did somebody steal that, but did somebody steal this for someone else? That is the key question. The theft charges is what prosecutors can prove on June 5th. The counterintelligence question is what Special Agent Johnson's division is still investigating. And the gold itself is part of that particular question because there is a legitimate world where CIA officers carry gold bars for operational purposes. Beth Sanner explained exactly that.
You know, when you're in the operations side and you're operating in denied areas, so one that's very public and lots of people's cleared memoirs is going into Afghanistan at the beginning of going after Osama bin Laden. And CIA officers went in with millions and millions of dollars on their person. And so you know, this is something that you do when you're working in denied areas. You know, you can look around the world. You might have said maybe Venezuela at that point in time, maybe Yemen, maybe Nigeria, places in the Middle East, maybe still Afghanistan. We don't know. But there are legitimate reasons for a case officer to have these items. You might want to give a gold watch out to an asset to either recruit them or to reward them. You need
maybe
cash.
not 30, but maybe not 30.
Well, you know, you got a lot of assets.
Doesn't fit the operational profile either. With those numbers in that location tell you that the gold was not going to an asset. It was going to a retirement fund. The question, my friends, that the Counterintelligence Division is still working on is whether it was going anywhere else first.
If you go on the CIA's website, it talks about its stringent requirements to become an employee of the CIA. It says there are background checks, including interviews with family, friends, and neighbors, that there's a mandatory polygraph test, that there's physical and psychological testing, and it also says disqualifiers include lying.
June 5th, 2026, that's Rush's next court date. And here's what matters about that hearing. The current charge is a single count of theft of public money. The clearance job analysis published by people who spend every day watching federal security clearance prosecutions said to expect a superseding indictment with additional charges. The SF-86 falsification is its own separate federal felony. Rush allegedly committed at minimum 3 times. So he committed a federal felony 3 times. The 2009 application, the SES promotion application, and every security clearance renewal that had the same falsified, unchecked information on it. The leave fraud that we talked about earlier, 744 hours, also has not been separately charged yet. The single felony count here is the door. The superseding indictment is what prosecutors are going to walk through with, okay?
Also fascinating that he didn't move the bars, of course, overseas. That might indicate that there was some fear of scrutiny moving the bars from the house overseas. But again, I mean, fascinating tale. I wish I could give specifics of here's exactly what we're going to see next, but I don't think we have those answers.
Those records are now with the FBI and the prosecutors preparing the next filing. The chain of custody of the documents is a story that comes out once everything happens.
John Ratcliffe is not going to give any remarks because every piece of knowledge in his brain is actually classified. So he's going to head straight to Langley and do his job that the American people need him to do. So, John, are you ready?
Here is the joint CIA-FBI statement from May 27th and 28th of 2026. I'll place it on the screen here so you can see it. After a CIA internal investigation identified potential violations of the law, CIA Director John Ratcliffe referred the information to the FBI for a law enforcement investigation. The FBI is working closely with our partners at the CIA and the Department of Justice, the DOJ, as we continue to investigate this matter fully. We are committed to following the facts, ensuring accountability, and pursuing justice in accordance with the law. America, here's the piece that nobody's calculating what comes after June 5th. The CIA's internal investigation found this before the FBI ever called. That means there was a CIA document generated inside Langley before the arrest, before the charges, that names every person in the approval chain on those 5 gold bar requests, who signed off on the first release, who approved the second release, what level of authority the CIA's own protocols require for somebody to release tens of millions of dollars into some single officer's custody, whether those approvals followed CIA internal rules or completely bypassed them. All of that is in the document that triggered the FBI referral, and that document is now in the hands of prosecutors. The trial, if it gets one, is the first time that the chain of approvals becomes part of public record, which is something that they don't want. Every person whose signature is on the gold request approval for David Rush has an uncomfortable amount of months between now and the courtroom. Not because that they're necessarily guilty of anything, because their signatures is on a document that a federal grand jury will eventually see. That, my friends, is the story behind the story. And that story hasn't even got started yet. It's the same mechanism every time. Radcliffe didn't need a new law. He used one that was already there. The Internal Review Authority, the FBI referral channel, the search warrant, the existing statute. It's the same play that Abbott used in Houston, against Houston, the same play that Mullen used at the airports. Find the pressure point and you push it. Every fake degree got a clearance. Every clearance got a promotion. Every promotion got more gold. Only one thing stopped the cycle, and that was a new director. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.